Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a Chelsea versus Manchester City review. The Blues have got their win at Stamford Bridge and the title race is well and truly on. Let's get into our thoughts. Okay, Joe, so we got our win at Stamford Bridge today. It was a game that I don't think any of us were really expecting to win. We were kind of hopeful because we know on our day we can really turn over anyone. But what the outcome was it was quite special in my opinion because we've had a really tough time with Chelsea in the last 12 months, or at least 7, 8, 9, 10 months anyway. You know, the Champions League final loss, and I think they beat us in the league and the FA Cup. And Chelsea were really starting to become our bogey team, a team that I was starting to get very worried about. I thought Tuchel just had the beating of Pep. He just knew how to play against us. But I thought today it was actually kind of roles reversed. We had the beating of Chelsea. We had figured out how to break down their extremely defensive style of play. What was it? 8 players or 8 defensive players. And I'm kind of looking at that team sheet when it came out. Chelsea's what I'm saying. I don't know how we're going to break this down. You know, I was in the Etihad last week for City Southampton, and I was saying, I don't know how we're going to score against Southampton. I was watching the game, and as the minutes were ticking by, I was saying, I just don't know how we're going to break them down. So if we can't break down Southampton, how are we going to break down Tuchel's Chelsea? But we did. You know, it took a moment of luck, obviously, but I thought overall we were the better team. What do you reckon?
We were miles better for almost the entire game. More passes, better pass accuracy. We had more clear-cut chances. We limited them to no shots on target. We were just by far and away a complete team performance. Goal was a stroke of luck, but sometimes you just need a bit of luck to win football games. And, you know, we got it and we held on. And while it was still a bit worrying to see the amount of chances, the amount of, you know, decent or good chances that we still missed at times, you know, the main thing is we got out of there and we won the game, and we picked up on a few drop points that we've had at the start of the season by beating a title rival.
Yeah, absolutely. Chelsea were in, like, I think they're unbeaten so far this season until today. But in terms of the goal, yeah, it was obviously a moment of luck. I think a ball came into Jesus. He swiveled around a bit. And as always, Chelsea had basically everyone in the box trying to stop shots coming off. Took a deflection, a shot from Jesus, and went in the back of the net. But on another day, I think we actually could have won 3-4, possibly 5-0. If you recall, you'll remember Jack Greenish had one shot on goal, which Edouard Mendy, all credit to him, pulled off a fantastic save. Grealish also late in the second half was through on goal 1-on-1, and Edouard Mendy was fantastic there. There was plenty of opportunities, and even though the scoreline was only 1-0, I would still call that a 1-0 beatdown. Yes, we did concede a few chances. Chelsea started to, you know, pile further forward in the second half when they conceded because they had to. They were in need of a goal. But I still think our defence held out very solid. Chelsea didn't pose a huge amount of threat. I know Lukaku put the ball in the net, but it was ruled that offside. And at that stage, I didn't realise it was offside. I was kind of going, oh no. But yeah, I think it was a 1-0 beatdown, in my opinion. It may sound arrogant now that we have hindsight in our favour, that we know the result. But I think City, if you look at the stats, I'd say City had at least 65-70% possession. And they were just knocking on the door for the whole game, trying to break Chelsea down. And Chelsea really, really struggled. I mean, I want to talk about Rodri for a sec. He's someone we talked about off camera there. I said if he plays like that every single week, Fernandinho, who is one of the best in the business at that role as well, will struggle to get into the game. I say it in pretty well every preview and review I talk about when City are playing, that if you control the midfield, you will, you know, there's a 90% chance you'll win the game. And Rodri was absolutely crucial today for us in controlling that middle of the park. De Bruyne and Bernardo as well, we'll talk about them in a sec. But Joe, talk to me about Rodri, because I thought he was absolutely phenomenal.
One of the best players on the pitch, one of the best games he's had for City, and I'm so glad that he wasn't injured, because he was a doubt coming into this game a few days before, but he's pictured in training and he's fit enough to play, and I'm glad he played. You would thought every single time Chelsea got into our half, they didn't really, you know, do much in the first half, but every single time they got into our half, he was there. He won the ball back. He was always there. You could feel that he's got a bit of confidence now. For some reason, I don't know, he's just so... There's a lot of doubt surrounding Rodri. There's a lot of people who are unsure, don't think he suits the way we play, don't think he suits the league. And while he may not fully suit the league with the style of play, he's proved that he can do it. He can play to a very high level. And again, like you said, if he can keep this up, then we don't have to talk about a Fernandinho replacement. Because, again, if he can keep it up and keep him out of the team, then you know, he's more than good enough and capable. It's just the consistency. We saw last season he had a bit of a purple patch where he was really, really good and we never wanted him out of the team. But then towards the end of the season, you're going, well, in the bigger games, I want Fernandinho there because he kind of tailed off. But if he can keep up this, you know, if he can keep this up on a run, then I've got no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, as you said, Rodri is a player who's been under some scrutiny in the last kind of 12 months for not showing up in the big games. But today, I think he actually just set the benchmark for himself. That is the level he needs to be at if he wants to achieve what realistically he wants to achieve. I mean, his opposite number today was obviously N'Golo Kante, who probably is the best in the business at that particular role. And Rodri outplayed him. Rodri did what Kante does week in and week out fantastically, better than him today. So I think Rodri needs to realise that it was a fantastic performance by himself today, but he needs to do it every week. Consistency is absolutely crucial when you're going for leagues and Champions Leagues. You need players putting in those kind of performances every week. Another player I want to talk about, Joe, who you will see in our player ratings in the second half, is Bernardo Silva. We gave him man of the match. He was unbelievable today. I know BT Sports gave João Cancelo man of the match, who was also fantastic. He's worth a mention, but for us, Joe, we said it as well off camera, Bernardo was just unbelievable. He was playing, you said it yourself, centre half, right back, defensive mid, centre mid, up front at times. He really, really was that Duracell bunny I used to talk about last season. His energy is just like, it's unright. Like there's very few players in the world can provide the energy and the press that Bernardo Silva does, and it's actually a miracle, and it will probably prove to be even more of a miracle than it is at the end of the season when we hopefully have trophies that we held on to Bernardo Silva. You know, you said it yourself there a second ago earlier on to me that the thoughts of selling him for a £40 million offer if it came in the summer that they were talking about is absolutely mind-blowing. This guy is absolutely crucial to this team, and he will prove that. I believe so. He'll prove it in Paris if he plays, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't play against Liverpool and Anfield next week. Absolutely priceless what he offers to the team. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot believe we were willing to offer a cut price deal for a club who was willing to come in. It's scandalous. He's so good, so underrated, underappreciated by pundits, rivals. He is one of our best players because he just doesn't stop. He might still want to leave, who knows, but if you saw at the end of the game, he practically collapsed in the centre circle on the full-time whistle. The man cares, and if he wants to go still, then so be it. But I hope he's changed his mind now, because I really, really would love if he stayed, because he's so good. He was everywhere on the pitch at times, you know, up front, right, left, you know, at the back, winning headers in the box. He was immense. I don't think he could have had a better game, and he's on a really good run at the moment as well. Obviously, he got the winner against Leicester a few weeks ago. So I just hope that he's changed his mind.
If he stays for a long enough period of time, Bernardo Silva, he can be up there with the City greats, because he's the kind of player that City fans really appreciate and really idolise. Like you said as well, he's probably really underappreciated and underrated by pundits and the mainstream media, but us as City fans, he's the exact kind of player we love in our team. You know, David Silva was a very similar attribute, you know, the low centre of gravity, the extreme work rate and the passing ability. But listen, today was an overall really, really good performance. The result, I don't think, reflects the game. I think if you watch the game yourselves, you people at home, you will know that City were actually all over Chelsea. Even though if you watched the game with me at home, you would have seen that I was very nervous in the last 10 minutes because there's, you know, it would have been typical City to go and concede and blow it, but they didn't. So all credit to the defence, who really were fantastic. I know Diaz gave away a foul against Lukaku in the last few minutes. He knew he'd get a yellow card for it, but it broke up the attack. Smart decision, in my opinion. An overall really good collective team performance from defence right up to the front, and of course Ederson at the back was brave as ever. But we'll get over to our player ratings now, and you will see who we gave what. I think it's pretty high today, so let's get into it. Right, Joe, when City lose, this is my least favourite time of the week, and when City win, this is my favourite time of the week. The player ratings are going to go up on screen right now for you all at home to see. Let us know, as always, down in the comments what you think of our player ratings. Would you give anyone less? Would you give anyone more? We'd love to know what you think. Right, Joe, let's start off with Ederson and goals. Usually I talk about the goalkeeper with the defenders, but I think he's worth an honourable mention himself today. Really, really brave. You would have saw he was wearing a mouth guard, because if you remember over the years, the amount of times that guy has taken a hit to the head is unbelievable. Off the top of my head, the Mane incident where he cut his face, I think he got a kick recently as well. It's probably smart he wears the gum shield, but he is exactly what you want in a game like that. He's brave, he's cool and composed, and he just has the best ability to link up with his defenders around him as well. We gave him a 9, as you can see. Joe, talking about him quickly.
I mean, what more can you say? He's one of the best at what he can bring. Calmness on the ball, long balls, no pressure on him whatsoever. He is ice cold. He feels no pressure whatsoever. And you're right, he did get a kick recently. He got a kick, Harvey Barnes against Leicester. He got a kick in the head there. He had to, I think he got cotton buds in his mouth. So you could see the mouth guard more often than not, but I mean, clean sheet at the Bridge. Although they didn't have a shot on target, he claimed crosses. There was that one incident in the last, I think it was the last 10 minutes with Kai Havertz, where he comes out, he wins that 50-50. Brave goalkeeping again, it's what we expect, and, you know, he does it most of the time, week in, week out.
As you said, Chelsea did not record a shot on target today, and that is because why? Our defence was absolutely fantastic. Cancelo 10, Laporte 8, Diaz 9, Walker 8. Cancelo we gave a 10 because he genuinely was fantastic. He is someone, I think, similar to Rodri, who we spoke about, suffers from inconsistency, but today really was one of his days. For large parts of the game, anything Chelsea were creating or any threat they were posing was coming on their right-hand side. So Timo Werner was attacking at Cancelo, who pretty well shut everything down. And of course, as always, he was fantastic going forward. We know that is probably Cancelo's biggest asset. Laporte had a pretty solid game. I don't recall any serious mistakes. I think he cleaned up when he had to. I think he got sat down by Timo Werner at one stage, but we won't talk about that. Diaz, we gave a 9. We thought he was absolutely fantastic as well. We didn't give Diaz or Laporte a 10, or especially Diaz a 10, because they actually didn't have a huge amount to do. But everything they did have to do, they did pretty well. Like I spoke about a few seconds ago, Diaz gave away a tactical foul. He was the captain today, rightly so. He is a true out-and-out leader. Kyle Walker we gave an 8 to as well. Pretty solid in defence, pretty solid going forward. He gave one particular pass which I was really impressed with, I think possibly in the first half, to De Bruyne, and he drilled one into his feet. De Bruyne turned his man but couldn't really get a clean shot away. So yeah, the back four today were absolutely fantastic when they were called upon, but like I said, Chelsea didn't offer actually a huge amount. But Cancelo definitely the standout one. Joe, the back four, what do you reckon?
When you keep a clean sheet, your defence and your goalkeeper is always going to get high ratings because, you know, they've done well. Clean sheets don't happen every game. It was clear to see they focused, or they tried to focus down their right, our left, which is where Cancelo was. And he was so good at dealing with it. Whether it was Reece James early on, who had to come off, unfortunately, or Azpilicueta later on in the game. Dealt with it. Really good link up with Jack Grealish on that left-hand side. And he's right-footed playing on the left, but he's constantly overlapping. He's not afraid to use his left foot. He was the BT Sport man of the match. Not our man of the match, but he was definitely up there. And then, again, clean sheet. You can't really go wrong with the other ratings. I think Laporte did well, considering Lukaku tried to focus more on him, thinking he would stand a better chance against Laporte. And then Diaz is just Diaz, again, sliding in front of everything, blocking everything. Captain, rightly so as well. One of the leaders. It was the strongest defence, and I mean, I think it showed with the 0 shots on target.
Yep, absolutely. Really good performance from the defence today. Moving into midfield, we gave Rodri a 10. So we had 3 10s today. Rodri a 10, De Bruyne an 8, and Bernardo, our man of the match, we gave a 10. Rodri, who we spoke about a bit in the first half there, had probably, I think, well up there with possibly his best game in a Manchester City shirt. He really, really did that CDM role perfectly, and the defensive side of the game is probably what he had struggled with a little bit in the last 12 months, breaking up attacks, and you know, he used to give away fouls pretty cynically as well. But today he was really composed. He broke up attacks with effect and efficiently, and then his link-up play was decent as well. So I think he deserved a 10. And like I said, we don't need to talk too much about Rodri because we went in depth. But like I said, if he does continue this vein of form, Fernandinho will struggle to get into the team, and I don't think that'll be an issue. Fernandinho is nearly 38 or something. He doesn't want to be playing 90 minutes 2-3 times a week. So to have someone like Rodri coming into form with these massive games in the next few days as well is absolutely fantastic. De Bruyne an 8. We thought he was good driving forward with the ball. He, like as always, we know how powerful a runner he is. He's great at breaking through the lines, but unfortunately his crossing, which is something I think he's actually been inconsistent with for a while now, was a little bit off today. You said yourself off camera you weren't sure why he was left on corners for so long, because they were just a bit off today, weren't they? And then man of the match was Bernardo Silva. We spoke about him in the first half as well. Absolutely phenomenal. get this guy a new contract, give him whatever he wants, make sure he's happy in Manchester, give him a new house, do whatever you have to do. This guy is absolutely priceless. And like we said briefly, the price tag of 40 million is absolutely absurd. If Jack Grealish is worth 100 million, I genuinely think Bernardo should be worth around the same, because what they both bring to the teams is absolutely priceless. Joe, the midfield, what are your thoughts?
I don't think we really need to say much more about Bernardo and Rodri, because we spoke about him plenty enough. There's not much more you can add. They were just brilliant. Again, like you said, you control the midfield, you'll most likely win the game, and we controlled the midfield. Just on De Bruyne, yeah, I mean, his crossing was... I know he's just come back off an injury, and he completed his first 90 against Wickham. Did another solid 60-ish today. I just was surprised to see him on corners for as long as he was, because his crossing was a little bit off. People like to call him a cross merchant, but it's arguably, well, at the moment, it seems the weakest part of his game, putting in crosses. But again, he can pick a pass, he can control the game, finding pockets here, there and everywhere. Just, again, it's standard from him. It's odd because he didn't have a bad game at all for what he played, but it's just so standard for him to do this. And he's only going to get better when he gets more minutes.
Yeah, as his fitness gets better, he will become more of an impact on the game. But if he's still, even when he's not 100% fit, even 60% fit, he frightens the life out of any defence, because he's capable of those, moments of magic. Anyway, moving into the front three, Jack Grealish a 9, Jesus an 8, and Foden a 7. These are all three players probably worth talking about a good bit, because they all kind of had very different roles in the games and different impacts in the game. Jack Grealish, I think, deserves the highest rating of the front three, because he was the most effective of the front three. At times when we were struggling to break down Chelsea's low block, Jack Grealish was our only bit of hope. He was creating things, he was taking on their right full. He gave Reece James a hard time when he was on, and he gave Azpilicueta a hard time when he took over that role. He could have had at least one goal, if not two. If you watched the game, you would have seen he was through on goal once, and of course Edouard Mendy made a fantastic save. Jesus, our goal scorer for today. You would think our goal scorer would possibly get the 9 or the 10, but I think he struggled to impact the game sometimes. He was doing quite well when he's out on that right-hand side, but as always, when he's playing down the middle, which he was at times as well, I think he struggles. I really don't think it suits him. But on the right, he did look good. And of course, getting the goal is the most important thing, so fair play to him for that. Phil Foden is our lowest rating of the day, and it pains me to say that. We gave him a 7, which isn't even low by any means. But I don't think it's through any fault of his own. I think he was struggling to impact the game, because for large parts of the game, he was playing down the middle, and that doesn't suit him. And especially against a team like Chelsea, where it's really tight and compact, where they have, 5 players at the back, and then 3 holding midfielders, something crazy. It's really hard for a player like Foden, who loves space and freedom, to flourish. So with the combination of him playing through the middle and the really big compactness, I suppose, of Chelsea's defence, it was always going to be difficult for Foden. But then, of course, he did have a few good moments, but unfortunately, he's our lowest rated of the day. Joe, the front three, thoughts?
Yeah, Foden was a bit off again. It's not his fault that we decided to opt for a false 9 for most parts of the game, and he was selected to play in that role. He's okay going through the middle, just not when he's playing as a false 9. He'd be better suited through the middle of the midfield. Too far forward really to have an impact. He's very good at dribbling and picking space and picking the ball and driving with the ball. He can't really do that when he's the furthest man forward, so it kind of nullifies some of the best aspects of his game. But again, he will also get better as he finds a bit of fitness. He is another player who struggled with injuries at the start of the season, so he will only get better. Jesus, shocker in the first half with that shot that he had on his left foot. He should be at least getting that on target. Put it in the crowd, mishit it completely. It wasn't the easiest of chances, but he still should be, getting it on target. That's pretty poor on his part, but he made up for it because he did score the winner. He scored the only goal of the game, and although he didn't play up front for the whole game, he started out on the right. If you're looking at a striker, as long as they get a goal, it's fine. It doesn't matter. If they win you the game, that's what they're out there to do. And then Grealish was just... I think Grealish is Grealish. He was faultless yet again. Creating, unlucky not to score. If we're being harsh, should have scored. Edouard Mendy's just a great goalkeeper, and he got taken off. I think rightly so. We've got a tough run coming up with PSG and Liverpool next, so I think, as much as I critique Pep for his subs, I think he got him right today.
Yeah, and overall, like really, really solid performance from City. And the talk about this team every week is City are going to struggle against, the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool and over the course of the season because they don't have a striker. We've just beaten the team with possibly the best striker in the league in Lukaku without a striker ourselves. We have, if you look at our player ratings there, all the way from De Bruyne downwards to Phil Foden, there's 5 players in that pitch, all capable of scoring, and they'll all be looking to hit double digits this season. How many teams in this league can you name that have 5 players on the pitch at once who are all capable of hitting double digits of goals? And I think if they all do that, City will be in with a massive chance of winning the league this season. So I just wanted to mention that. But listen, that is our player ratings. Let us know, like I said, your thoughts down below. Would you give anyone else, or would you give anyone a different rating? Obviously, a massive week coming up. We have PSG away. I believe it's on Tuesday, and then we have Liverpool away. It doesn't get any easier next Saturday or Sunday. So it's really important that we got the win today. We'll carry the momentum, and the confidence will be huge as well, because I don't think it's a game that we're all, like I said earlier on, expecting to win. But now I don't see any reason why we can't go to Paris and Anfield. I hope you admire my confidence and get a result. But listen, thanks a million for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It helps us a lot. The likes really, really do. And comment down below any thoughts you have on the game or any thoughts you have about the week coming up. Subscribe if you're new. Very close to 400 as well. We will hopefully have a preview out for the PSG game on Monday afternoon. And then I'd say I will probably be on the watch along, maybe with Joe or whoever's around. So do join us for that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week for a massive week this season. Let's go. Good night. God bless.